a quick break. We got another banger around the corner. The Battle of Contenders. The Dreamers, with one goal in mind, to get Dreamer and Owl. Make it happen. Even if they maybe don't make it to mid-season madness. No, it's a highly contentious battle. And they got the #1 seed from Korea to go up against. It's Poker Face.
Poker Face has been dominating recently, Lemon. We managed to take a map off the Guangzhou charge, but then again, Guangzhou Spark just managed to do that 3 times in a row. Still, when it comes to DPS, both of these teams are absolutely stacked. Spectra yesterday took over the match against the Seoul Dynasty, absolutely demolishing the Overwatch League team, making both Prophet and Sonjun look silly on the Trace of the Hunter or whatever they brought to bear.
Dreamers are such an unpredictable team to play against, and to probably put in your pick'ems. They went from losing 3-0 to Poker Face in the first round in a not-so-close fashion, to then sweeping the Seoul Dynasty, to sweeping the Prophet, to sweeping Sunjun, who has been on the rise. So, Dreamers, you can't count them out. I've considered them my dark horse of this bracket.
Why do I get one of those tees as well? They're styling, man. I love the Dreamers logo. Oh, no, but they've got the Dreamers logo. You can't see it, obviously, here. It's, the framing of the webcams do not reveal the big branding of Dreamers, but you saw it in the setup. On the other side, we have, of course, Poker Face. Plenty of very, very familiar names here for many of you former fans of the LA Valiant, with the same colors around here as well. We've got Muse playing the main tank, but for me, it's all about Simple. This guy is a freak of nature on the flex support, be it on the Baptiste or on the Anna. You can make sure that Simple is going to be doing some very far-away-esque things and doing some backline carrying.
The guy I'm looking forward to, though, is Arrow. And hey, he's got a big smile, so I'm glad he's hyped up, ready to go. He's been a mainstay as of late, with Finale and Valentine flexing around him and his hit scan potential. Because in the open, we saw a lot more Finale Valentine, but Arrow has proven that he is an incredible player. He's gotten a lot of player of the matches, plays a lot of Sojourn, more than maybe most players do, but in general, hit scans. But his Sojourn is all over the place. It's hard to dive after him.
Hard to get after him that much, is for sure. The Wicked Slide will get you away from that attention as quick as you'd like. On the other side, Meesin, some big shoes to fill going up against Simple, but hey, Dreamers have been popping off and he's been a large part of that. Antarctic Peninsula is going to be where we begin. And of course, now, Lemon, we're down in the lower bracket. These teams are on their second chance, and there will not be a third. A dream of a contenders team making it to mid-season madness may seem like a glint in the eye for those far removed, but everyone knows that teams like Dreamers, like Poker Face, Panthera, and O2 Blast, they have the raw talent to make it happen if only they can perform on the day.
Remember, this is Dreamers, who came in as the #6 seed coming out of Korea, who promoted a lot of teams into the open, and then Poker Face, contentious with O2 Blast when it comes to just how much hype is behind this roster, and, you know, with how many former OWL players you have on the roster, I hope they get as much excitement. But Dreamers, just the fact that they were capable enough to knock out the Seoul Dynasty from this bracket tells me that there's a lot more potential to this team. And to go back to my point about how unpredictable they are, it's the different styles that they have between tanks. Dreamer, this super aggressive Reinhardt, versus Lee Ger, who's the diva, who's very reactive, passive, and more of appealing style. And Dreamers will sub them in and out.
Back and forth, back and forth. They do rotate. Of course, we have our Symmetra rollouts here, as Dreamer's going to be rolling forth on the Reinhardt. Of course, he spent plenty of time playing this for LA Valiant, I believe, back in 2020. Already, though, isolated.
Wow, a quick brawl. And Dreamers, they love their Reinhardt, but Ramatra supposed to be that counter to it, being able to shred that shield, but as long as the Reinhardt can close the gap, and with this Symmetra, this is what makes Dreamers such an unpredictable team. You never know where they're gonna pop up, thanks to the Symmetra of EasyHan.
Yeah, he's zipping all over the place here. And the Symmetra brings so much to the tank duel as well. Yes, the Ramatra, in many cases, will counter the Reinhardt because he can punch through the shield, but the Ramatra just coming into those forward positions and taking that fight to try and pressure out the Reinhardt means that EasyHan can continue to build up that beam and just remove Muse or force him into these positions of suffocation where he simply has to block for the entirety of Nemesis form.
Right, the first fight for Dreamers We want to prevent the flip there from Muse, who's been walled off, but Muse has some backup. And also the immortality just got popped there from Simple, but really to save himself, as the Dreamers are just human-sized bulldozers that just continue to roll down Poker Face at every step of the way. But at a distance, Valentine claims Spectra. Not that made to enable Dreamers, but an amplification matrix placed by Missin, trying to hose down Poker Face on their approach. Not too successful, but actually removing Simple. You got rid of the heals, you charged down Muse, and Poker Face thought they had an opening with that pick on the Spectra, but that's been squashed.
And Arrow's had no space to work thus far. The Sojourn cannot find anything. Remember how much HP both Spectra and Easyhan have, well above the 200 usually, and it means that they can brawl out a lot more effectively. Arrow can't even get close because of all the beams that are being directed his way, and so he's been not a huge factor in so many of these fights.
Our Dreamer is going to surprise him this time. Now you got Teleport, Shatter. Poker Face have a shield and a wall, some ice blocks. Not a lot to mitigate it. First May wall out from Spectra. Doesn't isolate Muse. Poker Face have all the ults in the world. If they drop this fight, they will be conceding the round. And it's the Blizzard from Spectra first. Valentine with his second. Easyhan to split up the fight with the Photon Barrier. Sound Barrier from Aiden to keep them all alive while they're frozen. And while Muse wakes up from his slumber, the Annihilation is invested to give Poker Face the fight.
The Annihilation potentially maybe of dubious value. Arrow gets his final blow. Donghun is able to gift it over. Dreamer's actually invested a surprising amount in that fight, both her DPS ultimates, and that means that now Dreamer is going to be weighing a lot on the back of this slam, but it's fairly easy to try and find a slam against Ramatra, who's only got the singular shield and it's on a really long cooldown. Once it's placed down, Dreamer can certainly use the speed of his Lucio to get himself a fat slam.
And what's going to be the timing of Poker Face dropping off this high ground? Muse is up here with the rest of the team. Okay, everyone drops down at once, and Simple gets just charged. The Shatter gets two on the floor. The Fire Strike, the guaranteed kills, the amplification matrix is just the cherry on top. Poker Face did not want to be invited to this party, and Dreamers are just rolling them.
That was legitimately a textbook fight from Dreamer. This man's got a PhD in Rhine. Muse trying to roll forward and touch the point, but can't be done. Let's talk about what Dreamer just did. Holding up his shield the entirety of the way forward after forcing out the May wall from Valentine means that you can push all of Poker Face off the high ground. And that is so nasty for both the Sojourn and the Baptiste, who are planning on using that to try and outmaneuver Dreamer. Then dropping down, pinning Simple, most of the heals all gone then, and still no immortality field as well, and then he gets a two-man slam afterwards, shutting down Arrow in the midst of the overclock. Textbook from Dreamer. I'm fangirling.
I'm just gonna dare you to do a push-up every time that we see an APAC player write C9 in the chat, because it's just every round, every fight.
I'll be chest day by the end of that, if that's the case.
Well, better you than me. So Dreamers will have to dive with Easyhan's Cassidy, which we don't see a lot of Cassidy as of late. Doesn't have as much mobility as a Sojourn. Arrow's going to want to dodge the dive using that, and Muse is on the Ramatra to try and simply beat Dreamer to death.
Easyhan, a hero that we saw quite a bit of during the last year, actually, with the LA Valiant. Certainly was one where he hit a bunch of impressive shots and certainly captured some attention as well. A nice ice wall here. Does isolate Dreamer for a moment, but Poker Face are unwilling to give up the high ground to try and make that engage happen.
Well, Dreamers with the speed, they're just chasing Poker Face like cat and mouse, and Easyhan with this high ground has full sightline of the point. That's a massive ante from Meeson, and Poker Face still just tried to walk forward to contest the point since they had capped it, but that's not going to last long.
Donghun returns a tactical crouch, you know. All's fun, fair, and love and war. Easyhan hitting a bunch of critical headshots there as well to find finishing blows and make sure people are laying low enough to be finished up upon afterwards by Spectra, who, as I mentioned yesterday, had themselves a fantastic game against the Soul Dynasty. If he remains on form for that, it's going to be very difficult for Poker Face.
Okay, Valentine and friends from Poker Face push this high ground. A headshot of the Easyhan. He didn't concede to the stairs fast enough. That's a big opening. But Simple is down to a Lucio, and a Pulse gets Muse on his knees. Somehow he lives, but really not for long. Dreamers, despite losing Easyhan, their re-engage was so much better. They're so speedy.
Okay, Meeson picking up a couple of final blows in that fight as well. Actually, Meeson has more final... Actually, Meeson and Donghoon both have more final blows than EasyHan and Spectre. Both sitting at 5 each at the moment compared to EasyHan and Spectre, who only have 1. This is a very aggressive support line, and that's something Pokerface are going to have to adjust to over the course of this series.
Dreamers have a Nano Winston ready to jump on Pokerface, who want this high ground. Valentine places the Blizzard as Dreamers jumped in, and Dreamer popped the Primal Rage to get that second jump to jump out of the Blizzard, and continue to slap Pokerface around. This is supposed to be one of the top teams of Korea, and Dreamers are kind of clowning on them.
This is not how it was supposed to go, Lemon. This is not how it was supposed to go at all. Valentine moving over now onto a Tracer. Wants to just try and work some off angles, try and control that space, keep Spectra occupied. But still, with Dreamer holding this forward space here, it's going to be difficult for Pokerface to even touch the point, and they might have to invest a sound barrier to do it.
Looks like Dreamers even started diving as Pokerface advanced towards the point. It's an awkward ant matrix there from Simple, maybe just to discourage the Dreamers dive. EasyHan, nice to see him living, wishing he could peel for Meeson, but was more involved with what Dreamer was doing, and now they both fall. The lack of focus from Dreamers is gonna cost them in the end. Pokerface don't have a lot of people left. It's a Lucio, a Tracer, and a Dream. Aiden with the two-man sound barrier to try and save this for Pokerface. They flip the point, but for really how long?
Yeah, that point not going to be remaining for a long time. Donghoon able to quickly disengage. Simple has returns now, and so too is the Ball of Muse. This time actually managing to get the touch, but they have to try and stay on point here, and that's not easy with this composition.
It's an all-out brawl, and Dreamers have the point. Overtime in their hands. Pokerface barely have a tank up, and it's up to these DPS ultimates to make a splash. As Arrow goes in for the cannonball along with Muse. A headshot on the EasyHan, and he dominates this point, and Pokerface continue to live.
Pokerface cling to life. They grip to it with white knuckles and dirty nails. But now Dreamers have plenty of time to work with Lemon. They're building up towards an EMP, towards a Pulse Bomb as well. Donghoon's finally swapped over now from the Lucio onto the Brigitte, thinking it better to try and shut down Muse's dives, who's exited the Wrecking Ball and moved over onto the Winston themselves for a nicer mirror. What a pick.
Oh, the hack on a Muse. Valentine taking some pressure. Has already got the recall force, but Spectre's not even alive, so 5v4 for Pokerface. Forces the disengage from Dreamers, but Pokerface are on the hunt. Arrow strikes through the heart of Meeson, and Donghoon's gonna get staggered too. This is good time for Pokerface to gather.
Nice short jump tech there as well from Muse. Making sure to deliver all the burst that he could to Donghoon, but remember, these are trash fights from Dreamers. Not doing big investments, waiting for their moment, but it needs to be in this next fight. Pokerface, they need to win one more and their sins will be forgiven. It will come down to a sudden death in the last round of Eco Point Antarctica. They have to weather quite the storm though. The EMP stands ready.
And the Kitsune Rush is a fight winner, but you don't have Pokerface, and that's kind of the guy you want to boost up. EMP from EasyHan. Pokerface fall like dominoes as they wanted to play off the Kitsune Rush. Dreamers win that, and Pokerface will lose the point. Overtime in effect. One last touch there from Pokerface. I don't think there's any more recontest available. Dreamer with the Chad pose right in the main alley. And Dreamers will take game one.
A T-pose hello given over, and now, Lemon, we have seen two teams that refuse to repeat a 3-0 history. The last time these teams met last week, right at the beginning of our knockout bracket, Pokerface decimated Dreamers 3-0. And now Dreamers straight away in control, not even waiting, not even giving the courtesy of the favorites. Destroy them. I love the choice there to nano Donghoon as well on the Brigitte. Hey, if you want to come cleave us with that Kitsune Rush, we'll meet the cleave and we'll exceed it with both Winston and Brigitte. Unbelievable performance from Dreamers. Let's see if they can keep it up, Lemon, after this break.
Well, the Dreamers made the dream happen, at least on game 1. But it's Poker Face back in the driver's seat with a map pick. And they want to go back to the script. They've chosen Hollywood, the very map that they full-held Dreamers on the first time they faced.
Yeah, last time it was not a pretty map for Dreamers, and Poker Face, of course, a very well-rounded roster for this particular matchup. We've got Finale subbing in for Valentine. Some of you likely remember him from his time on Toronto Defiant. An accomplished Tracer player here who's likely going to be trying to control those flanks and off angles, while Arrow's going to be the main source of damage likely on the Hanzo. But Muse is certainly going to be a linchpin of this Hollywood if it goes over to second point. That's always concerned with how your Winston is playing, and Muse is an experienced Winston with tons of years behind him, and of course a huge amount of support behind him as well, coming through from Simple.
We don't see a whole lot of Finale and Valentine together. At least as of late, Arrow's been more of a mainstay. And even the last time we went to Blizzard World between these two teams, it was Finale and Arrow. So I'm thinking if Finale and Valentine are in, Valentine plays a lot of Reaper. Since Dive is so prominent, they like to bring out that Reaper strategy to blow them up and punish Winstons that may be less experienced and overstay their welcome and don't measure that threshold, especially against the Reaper burst damage. Finale likes the Sojourn too to try and counter the dives the same way Arrow does. Just simply jump away from it.
Just leave, lol. Of course, the Reapers actually have seen some usage in both APAC and NA, I believe, in conjunction with the Genji on Hollywood. People like to rotate around through Mega Pack and then try and do a 5-person dive onto Cafe. I think that it's Florida Mayhem who like to run that strat so that they can TP in with the Kiriko as well and suddenly just be 5 people on top of a defenseless Annie. You can't whip shot them all. I doubt we're going to be seeing that from Dreamers, as I don't think we have... Oh, well, like you said, the Reaper player isn't in. I don't know if they've got the Genji amongst them right now. Maybe Finale has it in the back pocket. I anticipate we're likely just going to be seeing a Hanzo versus Hanzo, potentially. Arrow's going to be more than keen to try and match that. I don't want to see too much more Sojourn. I think Arrow was certainly outpaced on that hero.
Yeah, it was tough. Tried some Cassidy too, or that was Easy Han that tried some Cassidy, but Dreamer, the evolution of Dreamers too, who have improved so much. It was actually a lot of Leaguer that played on Hollywood specifically. Once they started playing Dreamer in more, they actually tied Hollywood against Seoul Dynasty, so proving that when Dreamer is a confident and much improved Winston player that Dreamers can depend on. It will be them on defense. Poker Face on attack. With the no Reaper this time, but the Tracer Hanzo, kind of the charge special, but really what's meta. Good charge, or coach gun I should say, by Easy Han to stop the initial dive from Muse. As Poker Face will go in for round 2, and they've pushed Dreamers out of this house. Easy Han will be below on mini pack, getting harassed there by Arrow, as Poker Face still trying to pressure the point for the first tick.
Surprising how much space. Oh, what an anti there onto both Aiden and Simple. Follow-up simply isn't there, though. Spectre was too far away or simply didn't have the blinks to make it happen. Now Muse can move on forward and look at the block off the heels onto Dreamer.
Yeah, this is working out for Poker Face so far. Muse got slept, but Arrow couldn't blink to the mini pack in time. Surprise, it's Finale with a headshot and maybe 2. And a third one. Muse will go and steal that one. Either way, Poker Face will be capping the point.
I can't believe we've got Arrow playing Tracer and Finale playing Hanzo. They truly are getting a little bit goofy wacky with this, but when you've got a bunch of flexes on your team who can play everything, why not? I cannot read that. I hope someone translates
translation.
Now, where's Unknown? Bring him to me. Is he safe? Is he all right? Dreamers take themselves a forward high ground. Poker Face were unable to really claim a huge amount of advanced positioning, and that might come back to haunt them as they move forward.
Yeah, Finale usually is a Tracer player, unless Valentine would be in to play something hit scan related, which is what Arrow is filling in for, and clearly took your advice of the Sojourn being outpaced in that regard, especially against Easy Han on Antarctic. Poker Face are full of ults. They go to the high ground. Pulse misses from Arrow. A little bit of splash damage onto Dreamers. Easy Han tried to drop down to finish off Muse, who's forced to use the Primal. And Dreamer synchronized swimming on the Primal too, and not letting Dreamer actually jump out. Forces him into a tiny room. Very smart play by Muse.
Yeah, exercising his veto on Dreamer's disengage. This is going to make sure that Dreamers have to give up this forward high ground. They want to keep the back one, though. Muse dropping his shield down to the low ground is going to make it incredibly perilous to move forward, but he's backed up with Banano, so he can finally take that space and hopefully hold it.
so much space from Muse. Forces the recall out of Spectra. Will let Arrow know, so maybe he can get the chase down. But this is great progress from Pokerface. And they desperately need a turnaround after how that previous map went. Spectra with the pulse.
It was cancelled by the Brig rally.
I've never seen a canceled pulse, and I've been casting this game for a long time, so that's the first. Pokerface will have the rally into effect, able to get some healing out of that. So was Donghoon. Pokerface just meters away from point B. That's a dangerous anti from Simple onto Meeson, and Dreamer is low too. Pokerface can take advantage of this, but the Dragon Strike from Easyhan just slowed everything down.
Aiden for a moment, bullying the Tracer, keeping Spectra at arm's length just to try and keep Simple a little bit more protected for now. Still, it's Meeson who strikes first, taking out Finale at range, the better sniper.
Pokerface, 3 minutes left, and the fight is going their way. Pulse misses from Arrow, but the Primal of Muse is tossing them up. Meeson and Donghoon might as well be dead. Donghoon's racing like, I got you, honey. But they're just gonna hold hands and spawn, so.
I'm coming, honey. Wake up, honey. It's time to get Primal raced into a wall again by Muse. Spectra almost has a pulse on, ready to go. Puts it over onto the Winston. Bye-bye.
Maybe. Clutchable from Spectra with the respawn advantage. They gotta go in touch soon. Last, no! Dreamer! EC9 did at the end. He jumped too far behind the card. I wanted to see another fight, but especially after the hustle that Spectra put on. But Pokerface, cap point B. Oh, time for another push-up.
What a C9! Arrow 2023. That will go down to a lovely nade as well from Simple, making sure that the Easy Arm was instantly demolished by the pulse pistols of the Tracer. Finale, of course, can control the high ground here using the Dragon Strike. Unlikely to use it on the Winston, of course, because this disengage is bloody fast. But you can use this to make sure that the Hunter has to give up space to you, and Spectra's already lost the Tracer, or you could see an Ana assist there, maybe a sleep or an anti.
Meeson and Donghoon getting pressured there by Muse. Pokerface, this is steady progress. A 3-minute time bank. And Dreamers haven't put a stop to this yet, really. Except maybe towards the point, but even then, Pokerface keep these fights stacked. A lot of ults invested, and Arrow not only wins the Tracer duel, but pulses Donghoon before he can pop the rally. Meeson, Nano, Dreamer. Let's see if he can get a trade, but Dreamer didn't really net much. He's on the high ground, and he's so low. Meeson is getting pounded by Muse, and Dreamer is barely getting any healing. Pokerface are surely heading towards the end until a random 2K Dragon Strike from Easyhan just saved this fight.
The Dragon hungers and Pokerface feed. That was incredibly strange that it managed to get us both, but hey, sometimes you get your clutch factor out, and Easyhan just put the Dragon in the exact right space, knowing where Pokerface wanted to control and where they'd be placing their break to get that brawling power, and it pays dividends. Ada must have been caught without a shield bash, potentially chasing around Spectra as he tried to dance around that cart and keep it contested. And Easyhan continues to dominate.
Love the random headshots. Easyhan clutching up when Dreamers needed him to the most at point C. Multiple first bloods and one on the Simple that simply kills this fight for Pokerface. As Dreamers overextend, the chance that Pokerface have to turn it around is to get punishes on these overextenders, but it's not going to be the case. Pokerface will have Nano coming up.
And Nano, incredibly important to make sure that Muse can make the deepest dive that he wants to. Arrow and Spectra. Love taps playing footsie maybe, but it's only some harmless flirting at the moment as Muse goes all the way into the backline.
That really was a tango that never ended, and Muse, how about a dance with Easyhan, not letting him get back to spawn? Did he even confirm the kill? Muse got distracted by a butterfly or a squirrel. Why didn't he just keep going on Easyhan? Got redirected towards the fight. Either way, it's a W for Pokerface. We only have one member left, and it's Dreamer, but he has a Primal. C9, Arrow calling it already, I guess. A minute 13 for Pokerface.
Arrow dies, so he can't take part in that fight. You know what? I'm going to do Psyop from Spawn. The real range DPS comes in text chat, and Arrow certainly does have a big mouth, which he is running right now. Dreamers unable to bear the aggression that Pokerface bring. However, we will see if they go further than they did last time, Lemon. They were full held last time these teams met on.
He's asking what you're asking. Why is he playing Tracer?
I mean, same, bro. I too want to continue down this line of inquiry.
I played Tracer in USA, bro. Oh, thanks. saying that in English too for us
Uprising
casters.
Academy. There are plenty of Uprising Academy members on PokerFace, by the way, for any of you interested in these player histories. There was a world where...
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there's for cancel. Beautiful.
Never seen that before, by the way. Didn't even know that was a canceled
I play a
ultimate
lot of
till
Tracer
now.
on 180 ping, so it happens to me all the time.
Sorry for your loss.
all of my friends are in California.
Yeah. And I make you VPN to me, so...
You're coming to me, boy.
And I'm the auto. I'm gotta make sure I hit my shots, okay?
Gotta look out for number one, let me.
Well, Dreamers, they gotta go all the way to cap the map, but we're gonna have an evened up series. Good to see that PokerFace were able to bounce back after Antarctica.
Hi. Unperturbed thus far. You see the defense of PokerFace set up here.
Okay, PokerFace chillin', holding the choke. Dreamers creeping up from the left side. Spectra blinking in to the right. Getting some looks onto the left side too to see if Arrow's on the flank, but no, he's kind of with his team, ready to follow up with Muse's call. Dong gets antied by Simple, and Muse gets the finisher, maybe even a ranged zap. Either way, that's an opening for PokerFace to extend and hunt for more. You jump onto Meeson. I don't think has to sleep. Either way, sitting in the bubble is Muse playing his life. And Dreamers, their backs are against the wall.
All right, I'm back. What happened? Are Dreamers winning?
No.
Okay. Good
Sorry
to
to
know.
report. PokerFace, they headshots, or I forgot. They anti-Donghoon. Okay, I had to test my memory there. But
Clear, simple diff. Makes sense to me, Lemon. Arrow, making sure that no one can get around the outside, but Spectra might just make a beeline to the cafe here to try and hit that pulse one, which is built very quickly.
yeah, PokerFace off this high ground have a great angle for antis, except when you're dead. And Spectra had enough of that simple stuff. So it looks like Muse will back to the high ground and concede maybe a first and second tick, but recontest available for PokerFace.
It's simple. We kill the honor. Arrow sends out a pulse one of his own. Not going to be quite as effective. What a sleep from me, Sin. This is going to be a sad primal rage, I think.
And Dreamer plays his life well. He's in the bubble, got antied, and well, there he goes on the other side of the roof, like Batman. And you got 2 ticks earned for Dreamers, but without Meeson and everyone very low, it's going to be difficult for Donghoon to save this fight. Finale cleaning things up. PokerFace stabilizing. Dreamer has one thing in mind, and it's causing nightmares to the other team while he's kind of by himself feeding.
Wow, what a read from Muse to use the primal rage there. I thought that with Simple down, it was going to be an absolute waste, but it gives so much space to Finale to kind of work the angles with the Hanzo. Now both Hanzos do have a Dragon Strike available. That's going to be, of course, incredibly useful for the attack in particular to clear out the cafe and make sure that everyone from PokerFace is shepherded into a position where they can maybe be cleaved down by Dreamer or pulsed by Spectra. While they're hiding, they're incredibly vulnerable to that bomb.
Oh, a 2-man anti on the Donghoon and Meeson. Muse jumps on it again. It's just simple. A simple equation. Anti plus Muse equals death of Dreamers. We're down to 1:13 and they haven't even capped the point yet.
That's math. That's math, Lemon.
Yeah.
Simple equations work out into victorious looks here for PokerFace. And it seems like potentially history might repeat itself with only a minute remaining. Still, almost 2 ticks gained for Dreamers, and there's for Dragon Strike from EasyHan.
The rally into Dragon Strike to pave that road, brick by brick towards the point. You don't have Spectra, but you're up by 1. Dreamers setting themselves up to get the 3rd tick, and PokerFace have left the party. And Dreamer wanted to go join them, but he got slept.
Oh, Simple could be right-clicked here. Shield goes down from you. It's not the ideal use of resources, but if you need to save your Ana, you need to save your Ana, bro. I respect it. Oh, hello. They've smelled out Arrow in the back line. It smells like BM back here.
What is it?
Someone's typing C9 somewhere.
Oh, no.
I can hear the clickety-clack of the switches.
Dreamers advancing through the choke. No big deal. They got an Nano, but they continue to not have EasyHan. Finale winning that. Ooh,
nice
little
move.
anti onto Meeson, but Muse is a little bit occupado right now on the cart, just stalling things out. Arrow gone from a shot from an Ana, not able to go on the flank he was hoping for. Muse will have to be removed by force. I'm surprised he didn't stay longer because he has Primal.
Yeah, he's got the ability to try and play his life here with the Primal. And oh, nice anti onto Meeson. Still, no one really going to be there to try and follow it up. You know, the arrow fell a little bit earlier. What a whip shot. That completely wastes for Nano.
Oh, but a pulse makes up for it. You take out Finale, get your revenge. Muse slept, but woke. Has Primal. Decides to not pop it. Did not see that random Hanzo come out of the door. The body shot him. And Dreamers continue to get progress.
Happens to the best of us. Nice dodge there from Dreamer as well. And Dreamer, at the moment, making good on the faith that Dreamers have put into him to be playing these hybrid maps instead of Liga, where we're usually expecting to see the Diva and the Winston come out from the Chinese tank, and Dreamer moves off to the wayside for the hybrids, already performing super well this series.
Oh boy, Muse is nanoed. And he is hunting down Easy Han, forcing him to jump down. There is no helping him. Donghun and Meeson are on the other side. And Spectre does not want to mess with Muse whatsoever. Muse will be put to bed, slept by Meeson, woke again. Dreamers just, it's so difficult to get progress with how much Poker Face are effective at anchoring the cart. Muse is chasing down these supports with Primal until Dreamers' presence is demanded. And Dreamers just have to give this up.
What would you call a group of Primal Rages? A frustration of Primal Rages, maybe? Finale opens up with a Dragon Strike. He wants to clear the high ground.
Oh, and the rally activated too from Aiden. Poker Face. It's a big investment. Is it enough to ward away the storm of Dreamers to even up this series 1-1? It's a good start when you take out the Winston. Spectra sneaking up from behind with the pulse. Spots Aiden by himself, but Brigade is not someone you want to mess with. Not when you don't know where everybody else is in a 1v2. Spectra has to play his life, cannot afford to get staggered.
Arrow decides to make that one an unfair fight. It's a good call from him. Supports move up onto a high ground now, but Simple forced to use their nade defensively, and that'll be an opening in terms of utility.
Oh, Dreamers have to play this 4v5 though. They got the high ground advantage. Meeson nanos Dreamer, and Donghun joins the frontline fight. And Dreamer gets the 2K. 2 left from Poker Face to contest, and it just doesn't seem possible. They don't have the ults to pull it off, but it's still a fantastic point B defense from Poker Face, considering how much time they've shaved off from Dreamer's bank.
Yeah, it costs everything, Lemon. Dreamers emptied the savings account to save the community center from a mean old realtor investors who wanted to turn it into luxury condos. Now they have to build up a brand new bank of ultimates, and they're running low on time. Remember that they can't cap this in overtime, or they'll be playing for the draw because Poker Face have more than a minute in their own time bank.
Dreamers poking and prodding. Easy Han looking for headshots. Finale's actually in the bottom left, playing around his supports to force away Spectra, who's just been a thorn in their side. Arrow trying to do the same thing. Donghun misses the flail shot, so Arrow full commits with the pulse, doesn't land the stick, but Finale lands the headshot to stop Spectra on his flank. Meanwhile, you got a Primal Rage from Dreamer all the way in Antarctic, it feels like. 35 seconds left, and Dreamers are barely pulling ahead.
Yeah, that's forced Muse to try and station the lines as well with the Primal Rage, but it just gives over so much ult charge here. Feeding it over to Spectre, who's now got himself a Pulse Bomb. The last few have all stuck over to Finale. He can repeat that performance. It might be an opening. That
is one. He created one physically into Aiden, who's gone. But respawn advantage for the defense. Finale gets an important trade. It's 4v4. Dreamers are up by 1 and chasing to Muse, who is exposed, not having a lot of heals. Spectra needs to finish. It's coordinating with Dreamers. They're actually disconnected on which target they're focusing as Muse places a bubble to cut off the heals from Meeson and Dreamer, who's diving in deep. Overtime into effect. Dreamers, this is last fight. It's Nano onto that Winston player who puts Poker Face into a corner. An anti, a critical one from Meeson helps Dreamers out only a little bit. The Dragon Straight from Easy Han won't be enough, and Dreamers, the momentum has been halted. The gas exhausted from the tank. Spectra and Donghun getting a pick here and there, but it's not going to happen. Dreamers will be dropping Hollywood, and the series is tied up.
Tied on up, Lemon. Poker Face return to where they're at their strongest, forcing Winston versus Winston. But critically, we need to look at this within the lens of the last time these two teams met. The last time Dreamers were full held on Hollywood, This team is iterating. This team is improving, and it is far from dead. This is anybody's game, and now Dreamers get to decide where we go to. They can try and force that rush to come on back. Where would you go for that? Would you go to Rialto? Would you go to Havana, where the Winston is entirely less viable, and you can force Muse to try and play you at your own game?
The difference is that Control is such a smaller map, so Dreamers can chase and take all the space in the world, but Poker Face is disengaged just that much stronger on Hollywood. We have a series tied 1-1. Up next will be Dreamers' map pick. It's an exciting day of Overwatch League here in the eastern side of things. We had a reverse sweep previously, and now we have a tied series 1-1 against our 6th seed from Korea, Dreamers, versus the number 1 seed of Poker Face.
Yeah, a lot closer than many of us were expecting, considering that the last time these two teams met in this same knockout bracket last week, Dreamers got summarily 3-0'd. However, now we have Liga subbing in for Dreamers. We head over to Escort. This is, of course, the map pick of Dreamers after having Hollywood stolen away from them as Pokerface decided to try and force the Winston versus Winston. Now, anything but the Winston versus Winston is what Dreamers dream of.
It wasn't pretty when Dreamers faced O2 Blast on this map. They got full held trying to run the double flanker D.Va dive, but I don't blame them. O2 are terrifying. They're the living nightmares of contenders. But on the other side, they also faced this against Honeypot, which they won, relying on the Easy Han Widow and the Spectra Tracer with the D.Va dive. So that was a lot more successful for them. They ended up winning that series. So I'm excited to see the Easy Han Widow. Maybe if Arrow goes up against him on that too, we'll have an exciting day.
Yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more of the Widowmaker long-range hit scan doors. Oh, hello. Is that a phone camera I'm seeing from Liga right now? There we go. Arrived, he indeed has. And there we go. It's real. We saw a Widow duel earlier on Havana, even though we're not going to be going over to Havana this time. Jimmy versus Shy, and it did not disappoint, Lemon. I wish to feel that serotonin again, that dopamine. In my veins, please give it to me. These hit scans as Liga's going to sort out his camera, and then we should be good to go. I need to
sneeze. With a 2-liter jug. Like to see the man's dehydrated. And you have to be playing at your peak. Was he healthy in the game against Finale? Oh man, I'd have to see the stats. Arrow's also on some kind of flippable camera. And he's in to play Widow against Easy Han. At least that's what I'm presuming to be the case on Rialto. Double flanker is of course an option here. The Tracer stats from Spectra and Arrow.
That pulse from the Tatre could not be more stark a difference. Of course, we were somewhat surprised to see Arrow playing Tracer, and many in the match chat also like, Arrow, why are you playing Tracer? Spectra continually managed to pick off Finale again and again, doing that same play on the elevator to high ground of Hollywood B, then blinking over twice and sticking the Hanzo. I can't believe we got away with that twice, but I think that's pretty much responsible for Dreamers being able to get through that second point defense that Pokerface were putting up, even if it was a little bit rough to make it happen. Now Spectra and Arrow, we might see them try and go at this again, but I would not be surprised to see Arrow move away from the Tracer, as you pointed to earlier, and go over to something that's a little bit more long-range sniper-esque.
Yeah, especially with Finale having a solid Tracer in his pool. But if somebody says, hey, trust me, bro, I want to try this, I'm gonna let him do it. So we'll see how Rialto will shape up after Pokerface put a commanding stop at the end of Hollywood. Whereas Dreamers, it looked like they were gonna win when they had the nano, but just the target focus got lost in these hectic moments. And that's where, you know, that maybe that lack of experience can show when it comes to contenders. How they deal with stress, how they deal with high stakes situations is what you learn a lot about when you join the Overwatch League.
Facing down elimination. These teams have worked so hard, Lemon. Going through Open Division contenders, all the way through our qualifiers as well to make it to this moment. And yet here they are in the lower bracket. On their second chances, there will not be a third. It's do or die. And one of these teams will have their journey to mid-season madness end in the next couple of maps as we head over now to Rialto. This is the Dreamers pick. We're expecting Liga to likely play the D.Va here just to try and move between those high grounds with swiftness and accost enemy supports.
And your prize for winning the series is going up against the number 1 team in Owl.
Yeah.
Show Charge, who waits in the lower final to see who will move back up to face the Hangzhou Spark, who will wait in the grand final. So we'll have Dreamers on defense first. So I was wondering if they were going to go with the double flanker or the Easy Han Widow, where it felt like the double flanker struggled against O2 Blast, who were just, better at dealing with that. And they were a lot more successful on the Widow against Snape.
Modulating how he actually peeks at this Widow with both defense matrix and turnaround to try and obfuscate that head hitbox so that it cannot be hit through the mech's posterior.
Yeah, Liger is just gonna leave that, go back to the high ground. And this map can be very slow. It's a lot of stalling. There's no full commits from divas. It's a lot of... Oh! Wow!
Nice little mid-air catch there from Liga. Excellent.
Nice catch, Arrow. So Arrow has no one to duel with. The ghost of Easy Han Sombra. Spectra who blinks all over the place. Do you even have the space to work with? No. And just decides to swap to the Sojourn, as the rest of Poker Face will swap with him too.
Yeah, just wholesale swap. I'm still not a huge fan of a Sojourn, to be honest. Especially against the D.Va as well. It feels like there's going to be a lot of potential to shut down the overclock by just bathing him in defense matrix, but Liga is not going to allow one of those opportunities to slip him by.
And just a generation of that Sojourn charge is what makes her less and less meta these days. And when you can just matrix a lot of that and deny the charge, makes it much more difficult as Arrow and friends do travel to the left side. Finale jumps with Muse to go after Meeson. An important sleeve slows down Muse. Meeson dodging pulse bombs. If you could dodge a pulse bomb, I guess you could dodge a wrench. And Meeson living throughout that gives Spectra enough time to counteract.
Ooh, only one death so far on the side of Dreamers. They are playing this defensive formation incredibly well. And Finale, fought out in the back, finally playing the Tracer that we were going to be expecting from him. But not doing amazingly against Spectra right now. You could expect control of this health pack to probably be a little bit more stringent when you have someone like EasyHan playing the Sombra.
Two-man EMP, putting Muse and Arrow. Muse antied on top, forced to primal. Ligue slept but woke. Meeson getting rally health here is going to be important with Muse up in your face, especially with a nano. Donghoon gets nanoed. He might survive a bit longer against this dive from Poker Face. It seems to be relentless. And Donghoon and Meeson, once those resources run out, Poker Face never left. Confirmed those kills. Dreamers have no healers. Liger realizes that and heads towards the end of A.
Okay, a little bit of a brain turn-off moment there from Muse to try and over-peak the self-destruct, maybe trying to feed over a little bit more ult charge to Simple, but didn't realize that there were people there to try and capitalize on the damage done. That does mean Muse is going to be returning to his fight a little bit later, so Liga can grab a huge amount of space.
Arrow in trouble, getting collapsed on by the double flanker. Dreamers going for the execute to a main anti from Meeson on Muse and Finale. Goodbye, Arrow! As Poker Face are so weak and they only have a minute to go towards the end of this point. And it's not looking good. Spectra has been released from his cage. He is just simply ruining them.
It's the same thing that happened against Seoul Dynasty, where Spectra just went out of his mind. Currently 7 of 13 final blows belong to Spectra, absolutely dominating in the lobby. And it feels like Muse is being forced to play into this Liga D.Va that is not treating him very nicely.
It's a tough one. Poker Face coming down to their last fights. And coming down to a Dragon Strike that won't net you any kills. It's up to Finale to pull his weight on the Tracer. If you're going to take that away from Arrow, you got to prove you're worthy. Arrow's jumping around, dip dive and dodging away from Liger, who now has to leave because of that ante and go and help out against the Muse counter dive. They confirmed that. They removed the monkey. Aiden has been nanoed. And Poker Face will have to live without that tank. It's last fight and they have to take it on the card because overtime is in effect. Someone has to step up. It's Finale on the anchor. They walk into the EMP, which hits nobody. Good disengage from Poker Face. They come back with the rally of Aiden. Confirms it out to Donghoon, and they slip it by. They actually cap point A.
Oh, the worst possible time for a Memp. There was no tank there to try and stop it. EasyHan. Unbelievable fumble of the bag. And then Aiden, the exact opposite, pops the rally, gets a double stun onto both Donghoon and Meeson, which allows for instant follow-up and removal of the Brig, and then Meeson simply doesn't have anyone to defend him, and that squishy Ana is easily torn apart by the roaming wolves of Poker Face. Now with this advanced positioning, picking up the high ground, it's going to mean that Dreamers have to put significant time, effort, and resource into removing them from here.
Poker Face are going to be battling for these stairs next. They do split off from each other, so it gave Liger a chance to fully finale around a little bit. Poker Face taking kind of unnecessary damage as they figure out their plan, but the plan is arrow hit headshot, arrow kill everything, finale clean up the fight, and Liger fall over. That's really all she wrote. Poker Face halfway to point B.
I'm afraid I've probably lost speed runs by relying on your audio narration alone. Rialto is a very pretty map.
I got you. I'd show you with my hands too, but you don't even see me. But Poker Face going towards the end, 1 meter away. Easy Han is there to contest. Dreamers forcing one last fight. Pulse available from Spectra. The alley-oop, but Finale does the same thing. It's 4-on-4. Poker Face don't have arrow, and Meeson not there to heal Dreamers. The anti from Simple is just devastating. It gets the D-Mech onto Liger, and Spectra gone too. Poker Face gone. Momentum unable to be pushed at the 51-second mark like that.
And Donghun planting his little feetsies on the cart here to make sure there's going to be no backcaps, no shenanigans. Meeson, a touch of an alpha play against Simple, killing him with Bardic Grenade. It's going to be a tale of 2 nanos here. But Liga, can they reclaim their mech in time? With 15% scans of getting that, it's likely to happen. Muse's actually decided he's had enough of playing into Liga's Diva as a Winston, has moved over to the beam-heavy Warlord of Zarya.
Hopefully you can build up that energy and keep it. Zarya is that scaling here on a weird off angle. Arrow throws on the Dragon Strike to seal Dreamers into the staircase. They do fall away, and Nano for Donghun, who races forward as that kind of second tank, gets a double kill on both supports. Donghun saves this for Dreamers and will be halting Poker Face's progression. They just don't have the healing to progress this any further.
What a 1-2-3 punch coming through from the side of Dreamers. I'll have to talk about it later after Finale is fallen. Donghun won't allow himself to fall to an errant pulse on, but let's think about how that happened. Liga pops for self-destruct, drags everyone around that corner to hide in the same position, the only place that they could be safe from the self-destruct. And while they're grouped up there, moving forward, hitting the EMP, grabs everybody. Then you pop the rally as well. You get the massive cleave, a stun onto everyone using the shield bash, and then you can just whip through them with the mace. What a set play from Dreamers.
Yeah, Dreamers really like to nano their Brigida and have the rally and just create a second tank. This is just Overwatch 1 all over again, and I've been loving the buffs to Brigida. That stun coming back just strikes fear into any tank's eyes, especially Winston players. If you interrupt any of those jumps, and Divas usually can't hold space for as long as a Winston just due to not having that bubble. So to add a Brigida to that equation helps Liger out a lot. But Meeson's critical anti-these fights and Spectra popping off on the Tracer, it's been a full team effort from Dreamers to have this only be an 104-meter push for Poker Face.
Yeah, Spectra, 9 final blows. The second most on the team to Donghun with 7. And then you go all the way down to Liga, who has 2. Donghun has been able to do so much to shut down the ingress into the backline of Dreamers, who now are going to be swapping over. Oh, no. I was pranked by the Ramatra. It's not to be real. Muse on the other side, though, is wishing to try and opt into this brawl. I'm still not a fan of a Sojourn here from Arrow. I would much prefer a Hanzo or even a Cassidy to try and play with this, but
now you have a better brawler if you're gonna be in this brawl situation. Ramatra is one of the best for that. Still had a free cart push by Dreamers. Finally, Poker Face dropped from that corner side. Finale got antied. Great wall to protect himself, and Spectra didn't realize Amei was there, neither did Donghun, and Finale's about to get a 2K after hiding and almost dying from that whole situation. So Dreamers a bit caught off guard in this first fight.
Yeah, one of the things to remember here, of course, the defense matrix of Liga cannot eat Finales. Oh, that's a huge nade!
Muse in trouble. We'll have to concede this high ground. Liger absolutely sending it on these supports. Simple doesn't have immortality. And he's finished off. He drops it at the last second, and Aiden doesn't. He's just going to leave. And so are the rest of Poker Face.
Simple gets an unlucky play on that immortality fail. Actually bounces off the wall instead of hitting the floor, so it takes a while to actually get going, and so he does die. Now Easy Han can try and make sure that any transit to the point is going to be accosted. Muse might find himself with a lack of support here if people turn around to try and deal with Easy Han.
Last fight for the point A cap. Poker Face took to almost overtime to get this done, so Dreamers can get an edge in terms of time bank. They can make this a quick one. They nano Leaguer, who goes forward, forces out the immortality. No Simple is vulnerable. It was a bad call by these supports of Poker Face to not have that. They had set up for Muse to try and anchor, and he's there, but he has no friends. He has nobody alive. He's gonna pop Annihilation, but I don't think he realizes this is just simply unwinnable. And Dreamers will be capping A shortly. There's a last-second contest there from the speedy rollout of Aiden. Self-destruct all the way at the back, plus EMP is just so unnecessary from Dreamers. But YOLO, I guess. Poker Face have a lot of people contesting and wasting time, and Muse might just be back in this fight very soon.
Muse's return, but EMP was to try and stop Simple from popping the Immortality Field to keep that at bay. Aiden hits a two-person sound barrier. At this point, everyone's so invested in this fight, no one wants to lose.
It's a lot of C+ ultimates happening, but at least you have an A cap. Dreamers move forward with a bit of a time bank advantage. Poker Face, though, had to invest a lot just to take off a minute or so from that.
It has been. Easy Han just farming Simple in the back. Quite a wide hitbox on that map, so it's good for generating the damage you need to get that EMP going. Finale, of course, knows the Donghu needs to be removed from this area, especially to allow Muse to figure out how to make this happen, how to move from the high ground onto the low, and the choice in particular of when to do so.
Yeah, Muse is just getting hit by every single anti, so this brawling is not lasting for as long as he wants, and now he's getting slept, he's got hacked by Easy Han. The immortality from Simple are always committed to him, and when all the resources go into Muse, no matter what utility you commit to him, he seems to be still thriving. Poker Face be able to hold this cart at bay, despite some little flanker push there. Dreamers are resetting.
Quick reset. Now you can play from high ground with the window, Lemon. The window is going to make it increasingly hard to try and approach this, of course. You have to continually worry about cart. Spectre in the back, as well as Easy Han, who can sneak onto it for free. Should be quickly dealt with, but it does mean that it buys so much space for Dreamers to move up while they're all looking at the cart instead of trying to make sure that Spectre is dealt with.
Yeah. Poker Face not running a Tracer here is meaning a lack of anchor pressure on the cart, so there is so much free push from Spectra, who is meter after meter getting this within one fight territory. Self-destruct and the EMP! Poker Face hits Muse, and they don't have him for this final fight. The Annihilation, the win condition gone for Poker Face. Aiden in trouble, Spectra in the back line, Finale gone, and so are the rest of Poker Face, who raced to contest this one last time, but Leaguer rolls them, and Dreamers are on match point against Poker Face.
Rolling into Liga's speciality maps, getting it to play the Diva and forcing Muse off of the prize. Winston Dreamers now with the match point against Poker Face. This team barely made it in, Lemon. They barely even made it into our opens. They were in the last chance qualifier for Korea, and they had to battle through so many other regions to even be here to begin with. But this has been a tournament of iteration, of getting better and better and better. And Dreamers are finally starting to reach their peak. Poker Face are looking shook.
Just such a cool storyline of what Dreamers are able to do. Even stealing the second seed from SPG, who were favored above them when it came to the open bracket. An exciting Game 5, being in the same bracket as O2 Blast. Dreamers are on match point. Are they able to send Poker Face out of this tournament and out of mid-season madness? Well, you're going to find out after the break. It's match point for Dreamers, but it's a nightmare for Poker Face in this lower bracket. They're on their last life, but they got a map choice. And they want to go to Esports. You know what that means. We're calling in the big guns. Finale and Valentine will be subbing in for Poker Face. And Dreamer is back in for, well, Dreamers.
And that means that we're likely to see maybe a little bit more of the rush that Dreamers really were able to exploit on Antarctic Peninsula. This is definitely one of the most varied of the maps that we have, Lemon, on Push when it comes to what can be played here. A lot of teams like the Winston, some teams like the Ram, especially over in North America. And you know that Muse probably thinks himself the better Winston, but I don't know if that's going to be the case here, if they're going to opt into that against Dreamer again. I feel like maybe we lean towards, I think previously they played the Grand Finals meta here with a Reaper.
Yeah, Valentine loves his Reaper, Finale the Sojourn, and then a Lucio Kiriko dive is what Poker Face played last time against NT in the Open. And that's me right now, crying. Because we have to send some teams home today. It
is so sad. Is that a frog?
Do it for me, Easy Han, is what the sign says. I don't know what that frog is.
Yeah, my art's interpretation is
it's a dinosaur.
It's a dinosaur.
We need translation. We need visual translations too, apparently.
Luckily, Unknown speaks art. I do not. Here's a look at the subs that Lemon's already mentioned. Valentine coming in for Arrow. The Valentine Finale duo. Rare in recent times. Towards the beginning of Poker Face's run, we saw a lot more of Finale and Valentine, but as of late, Arrow has been almost a consistent mainstay for this team. And Valentine and Finale together means that we're likely going to be seeing a Reaper come out from Finale, or rather Valentine. Let's quick look at a stat card. This is Liga as Diva.
Who's that Diva?
It's Liga!
It's Liga with 2 deaths! Super survivable. Played a lot more aggressive than I'm used to seeing. Usually I fall asleep watching Rialto maps because it's just divas kind of emoting on the cart and not diving as the character is known for, right? But Liga was playing so aggressive. He would get an anti from his buddy, from his Ana, and then would just absolutely send it. So love the energy that this guy brings to the team and helping Dreamers get to match point.
And the dream is certainly within grasp, and those dreams don't become real via magic or miracles or hocus pocus. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work, and Dreamers have been putting that in spades. Poker Face, they need to save themselves because no one's coming. No Valkyrie will descend from Valhalla and resurrect their chances at mid-season madness. They need to pick themselves up. They need to drag themselves up by their bootstraps, Lemon, and get it going again here on Esperanza.
My biggest question is Dreamer gonna play the Reinhardt rush? Because they really rolled them on Antarctic, which that's a very much smaller map than Esperanza. And I think the Rhine is very doable here. Besides the one neutral bridge, there isn't these crazy high grounds that are difficult to get to for a Reinhardt comp. But I think Dreamers should be confident in their Winston game. I mean, it was Liga playing more Winston at the beginning of the season. Then they transitioned to starting Dreamer more on hybrids. They don't really, I mean, Poker Face doesn't really go to escorts, so we don't even get that much map stats on them. But the fact that Hollywood was so close in the Winston mirror tells me that both options are available for Dreamers.
As far as I'm aware, in Dreamer's previous forays into Push, they've played New Queen Street, and it was actually a sub of Dreamer onto Ana in both of those games that was continually confounding us and confusing us as we saw Liga come in on tank, because Dreamers don't really have a setup for double flex support. Here we go, though. Heading straight on out, Winston versus Winston. This is where Musad is most comfortable, but there's certainly going to be a lot more pressure onto Dreamer by the Valentine Reaper. On the other hand, though, Easy Han and Spectre are going to make life very unhappy for Finale and Simple.
Reaper shoot Winton, but Sombra has to hack, shoot, translocate, set up for EMP. It's like the sweaty gamer who's just like shaking at his desk, you know, versus the other one who's just singing. It feels like the Reaper's job is just easy. Teleports up, forces the jump out of Dreamer. As long as you don't feed your brains out, Reaper should be easy in this matchup. But Finale, not so easy when he gets hunted down by a Tracer. 4v5, Poker Face in trouble as they get antied by Meeson. It's huge plays for Dreamers.
I actually have to check which team I was looking at there. Like, I don't think Simple was on Anna. How did Meeson manage to sneak up on the Lucio and the Reaper? That's crazy. Spectra once again getting an opening pick onto Finale, making sure there isn't as much front-loaded pressure, and that gives Dreamer so much more space to try and use the bubble darts just to deal with the Valentine damage as well and cut off heals from his counterpart in Muse.
Yeah, good first fight for Dreamers, but good contest from Poker Face at this bottom bridge. Spectra with the pulse, lurks behind. Aiden antied. That's the call from Dreamers to pounce. Spectra's gonna have to grab Mini. Looks like Aiden is able to speed out of danger. Easyhan caught once he decloaked. Finale getting his revenge after being first picked off, and Poker Face will get to see some progress.
Finally getting that revenge. Valentine, ooh, plenty of final blows for them, and Aiden actually leading the ultimate charge for his team towards that sound barrier. What a performance we've seen thus far from Aiden, actually getting out a huge amount of heals, currently out healing Simple, actually the most healing in the lobby. So certainly not spending as much time on speed as he might like, but getting value out of that aura nevertheless.
Poker Face with Kitsune Rush 2 taking the lead. See when their hand will be forced. Got Aiden scouting above. Easyhan still needs to get into position for the EMP, but it's the trigger pulled first by Poker Face with the Kitsune Rush. They stuff Dreamers into this right door. Easyhan goes for EMP. Valentine from Valentine doesn't get the sound barrier while he was Death Blossoming, is picked off, and Dreamers were able to just react and really clap back against Poker Face.
Yeah, reacted, yes, but he's still to try and get in onto this space. Streamer doesn't have a Primal Rage anymore to keep him topped up, but a Bardic Grenade will do the trick. Elsewhere, Aiden went to 1v1 against Easyhan. There's no translocate away from that. We saw where it was set up earlier. Spectra returns. Pulse Bomb in hand could turn this around.
Good sleep. Muse not able to primal. Finale taking pressure while that tank is missing, but not dying yet. Spectra let loose, has the pulse, and takes out Valentine in that moment. It's a really scrappy fight, both sides losing important members. Last kind of anchor there from Spectra before he'll concede to Poker Face, who'll move forward.
Feels like we're sitting here in overtime already, Lemon. There's still 6.5 minutes left. Dreamers have used most of their resources to try and make these fights work, and a good save from the incoming Bio-Nade for Suzu. Kind of lucky, actually.
Ooh! Nice shot.
I see.
46 meters to 24. This is a highly contentious map already. Dreamers being on match point. Poker Face wanting to send us into a second game 5. Here's the dive from Muse. Valentine in his shadow. Dreamers backed into a corner. And with Dreamer on the counter dive, Poker Face's focus and their attention was cut in half.
The translocator back there. Nano Boost once again ready to go for Meeson. Do you want to put it onto Dreamer here? He certainly needs the healing to make it work. And so, yeah, starts to cleave.
Yeah, the sound barrier too from Poker Face just keeps them involved in this fight for so long. Dreamer with the nano wasn't too confident he could even live against that. And this is such a chaotic battle that seems to have never ends. This feels like Hollywood all over again. The burst damage from Valentine finally claims one, not before a trade from the other side. He got forward spawns though from Poker Face, and that'll help things out. 53 meters and more as Easyhan hits the EMP to slow the pace of Poker Face.
It does indeed slow the pace, but still the butt scratch attained by Poker Face means forward spawn. Simple's able to freely TP out. And now Dreamers still going to be low on these resources to try and make a siege onto the high ground work. A well-placed pulse from here could be everything. Simple so low. But well saved here. Sits in the corner. Waits for a cuddle.
38 HP recall right into a Reaper. Unlucky for Spectra. 5v4 for Poker Face who pressed the advantage. Muse slowly cleaving forward, sending it on Dreamer before he could get the Mega. He does live, but can't say the same for his supports.
And now, extra push going to be gained. Every single meter here, Lemon, is worth so much, because after you get a good amount of push here, we can see exactly what Hangzhou Spark did in our previous series and just troll that cart and make sure that Dreamers have to continually play from behind, even to try and get any progress on these points. And Nano in the hands of Meeson here, likely to go on to Dreamer. And then Spectre, once people start to cower away from that, Nano Winston can find an easier stick.
Poker Face 82 meters plus in a good position to extend this series, but plenty of time, 4 minutes. Poker Face overclocking, but Dreamer in his face. At 100 charge, Finale can't deliver the final blow, and he'll be resting in peace as Dreamers want to turn this around. They go deeper and deeper on top of Simple, and the rest of Poker Face will have to concede. Muse will at least take some people out with them, I guess killing both supports, but Poker Face just don't have people alive to really win this fight, but Muse can at least slow down Dreamers.
Yeah, they go into the kitchen and they find out what the gorilla's cooking. And he's certainly cooking up something brutal for both Donghun and Neeson, who did not wish to pop the rally to try and survive that. And here we go again. More cart trolling. Again and again. No TP here for Simple. Does get the Suzu in time. Remember, the hack now only disables abilities for about a second. The very narrow window you need to try and make your dives work on.
Poker Face with Kitsune Rush back to the neutral point. And this is kind of like the same thing as what the Hangzhou Spark did in our last series. You have a solid lead, then you just play the contest game. You don't overcommit. You use ults to just stop the momentum push of the other team. Poker Face. Oh, good Suzu from Simple to stop the pulse from Spectre from killing Muse. Kitsune Rush from Simple. Meeson caught in Hellfire. And Dreamer is making magic happen, but he's got no supports. And the Sound Bear from Aiden 2 feels like it seals the deal for Poker Face to win this fight. Especially while Simple is missing. This doesn't seem to be a big deal. Great shot again from Finale.
Now there's not that much to answer the EMP from Easyhan. Aiden having to use the Sound Barrier there to keep the remainder of the team alive after Simple's healing went missing means that Easyhan can take this next fight into their own hands. But you need to win so many afterwards. This needs to be efficient, Lemon.
Yep. Poker Face getting to 100 meters now. EMP, Simple, and Finale in trouble. Jumping away. Dreamer's got to realize that cooldown is out. But Finale escapes into the shadows. The bigger threat is Valentine and Muse lurking, ready for Dreamers to press and catching them off guard. A Death Blossom in the bubble catches both supports of Dreamers, who are constantly put behind and behind.
Valentine is absolutely carrying right now. 10 final blows. And admittedly, he has died 6 times, so that's the job of the Reaper. You just go deep, do damage, and die, and hope that you've taken more of them with you. Here, once again, more push going to be attained, and then you just, once again, continue to troll the cart. Dreamers only have a paltry 24 meters of push. They have to win so many fights in a row here to gain any control, and there's only a minute and a half left.
Yeah, Dreamers just haven't been able to win more than one fight in a row, and that's what push demands. It's not just the first fight, but the second, third, and fourth, and Poker Face just absolutely rolling them 101 meters to 24, 90 seconds. It's technically time for Dreamers, but without Meeson, you see their health bars. You see how down bad Dreamers really are. And with the Sound Bear of Aiden, you thought Poker Face would have pressed more. As I think Spectre might be on the flank, Simple will be marking him. Poker Face still going forward and just going for maybe the full cap at this point, but not letting Dreamers get any space at all. Finale catches Spectra. Dreamer in trouble. Easyhan with a pretty solid EMP hitting 4 members. And now you have the Donghun Sound Barrier on top. But for how many ults Dreamers need to invest, this is just to get them out of spawn.
And there's the Kitsune Rush. For some reason, if Valentine's still alive, he can get huge amounts of value out of this. The Reaper so good in the Kitsune Rush. However, surrounded by 3 members, you simply can't fire the Hellfire shotguns at all of them. And now, a large Sisyphean task sits ahead of Dreamers, Lemon. With 30 seconds remaining, they need to win probably 4 fights in a row. And during all of that, they're going to be forced with this comp to stay on the bot almost all the time. And that is easier said than done when you want to be chasing Finale at long range.
The cheesy contest from the top bridge from Poker Face. Dreamers realize they'll have to remove them by force. Poker Face dropped down, maybe thanks to a boot from Donghun. Finale kills Spectra again. He is just mechanically so solid today, as Poker Face just have to win this fight to send us into a game 5. And Dreamers just flop, but maybe you can go into game 5 with the confidence that Dreamers are a control-based team. And game 5, we'll find out if Poker Face can go all the way.
Oh, game 5. Lemon, we've been blessed by the APAC gods today with plenty of bangers. I don't think anyone expected this one to be quite as contentious as it currently is after what happened the first time these two teams met in knockouts. But Dreamers continue to iterate and evolve. Pokerface, they know exactly where they're strongest, where they can force the Winston versus Winston as we go towards our next control map. You've got to assume that it's going to be something like Nepal, where the Winston is not going to be mandatory.
Oh, game 5, the second one of the day. I hope you got your coffee and I hope you got snacks, because I'm about to grab some too. Pokerface with a dominant win on push will send us into control, where Dreamers will decide where we end up, and we'll see you after the break. going to Game 5 to see who will be our last contender survivor in Group A to go up against the #1 Owl team. The Guangzhou Charge coming up on another day, of course, but Dreamers have been the kings of control behind Dreamer Man himself. They rolled over their opponent on Antarctic. We'll see if it'll be the same thing.
Yeah, the map pick is of no surprise. I suggested that maybe Nepal would be where we go, but considering how well EasyHan's Symmetra fared against Pokerface, it's no surprise that they have opted to go over to Lijiang Tower, where, of course, you can basically play Symmetra on all 3 points if you would so desire, and this is likely going to be a clash of styles here, where Pokerface are probably going to want to play Winston on both Night Market and on Gardens, whereas Dreamers are going to try and recapture the magic of Antarctic Peninsula and just rush over anyone who gets in their way.
That's another great rush map. The Rhine, and what teams have had so many issues with when playing against Dreamers, and you heard it in interviews, is that the Symmetra teleporter is what's catching people off guard. And I think Lijiang Tower is just one of the best Symmetra maps in terms of how you can set up your turrets around it. If you can especially defend a Night Market first, that's an easy clutch, especially Control Center. Gardens is the one that's maybe best for dive in general. And we'll see if Pokerface have Dreamers downloaded yet.
Yeah, of course, having played a couple of matches in a non-rush setting, your download can begin to slip from your folder and into the recycle bin as you settle into alternative ways of moving forward. Of course, Valentine is staying in, which means that we're more likely to see something that's a touch more brawly. Of course, Valentine popped off on the Reaper in our previous map, actually leading the server in final blows, I do believe. And here we go, boys and girls. Everyone get ready for what is going to be an absolute mess on the double TP.
Oh, the Muse Rhine, too. Let's see who will be the master of Rhine. Both Symmetra teleporters to the point. Everyone's swinging. It's synchronized swimming of the Reinhardts. Flash into each other. Muse, dangerously low. Simple caught by Dreamer's hammer. And just that lack of healing costed Pokerface, and Dreamers take a flawless, or almost flawless first fight, and at least cap the point.
Yeah, Donghun able to do a huge amount of healing after we saw Meeson fall as well. That's why he's been able to outstrip Hayden's ability to build up that sound barrier as well, even with Muse doing a touch more damage. Looks like this is definitely a composition that Dreamers are going to be a lot more comfortable playing. Of course, EasyHan's calls on the TPs are sublime.
And being able to defend this point is so strong. Dreamers proving that with the May wall. Pokerface tried to teleport on the other side of it, and it did manage to work out, but the focus fire, not so much. Dreamers had a good May wall at the front. Pokerface got split up and just couldn't put the damage into the same target. I think it was a good surprise play from Pokerface, just not executed in the best of ways.
Well, I mean, it's been a long night for you. What are we coming up on? About 4 a.m. for you? Good luck with this next fight, because it is going to be an absolute blast, as Dreamers have 5 ultimates ready to go, and Pokerface are going to start getting increasingly desperate to try and get control of this point when you need to be playing from a defensive position with this May.
All right, the Symmetra TP at the back, and Dreamers spot that happening, but Pokerface don't actually take the TP. They walk in, they try to bait Dreamers, who may wall them off. Fantastic play from Spectra, who also drops the Blizzard, sound barrier, just in case from Donghun. And Dreamers showing they know how to play this comp and just are doing it that much better.
I saw some colors, and a fight happened.
Me too.
Dreamers still have the slam here, though. That's crucial. Muse and Dreamer are going to be entering into that critical Reinhardt mind duel here, but the backup of EasyHan being able to shred through that shield super easily is going to give a significant advantage.
The teleporting to shatter, and the Blizzard called too late by Valentine. There's no one even alive to shoot these frozen members. The initiative that Dreamers take, how fast they play Rush, is just, it's outpacing Pokerface before they can even form a thought.
Did Dreamer just do a double TP fake out slam? That's unbelievably new tech. Great stuff from Dreamer. Aiden has the touch. Won't be lasting for long. Muse is here with a slam. Who's he going to hit?
I don't know if he can live. As Dreamer charged into him, he missed that, and people behind Dreamer got shattered, but Pokerface are split up. They don't have Aiden for sound barrier, and that's 100-0 for Dreamers. Following a similar chapter as how Antarctic, how map 1 started between these two teams.
Dreamers may be fueled by cringe, but it is fueling a dream to a reality. I think you guys forgot that versus Dreamers, why you guys play Ryan? Excellent question, Dreamer. Excellent question. Unbelievably based. Pokerface, surely you don't play Winston on this map. Surely you play the Ram instead. Oh no.
Go back to Ram.
Oh no.
No, not the... He says, I won't do anything. Korean hottie.
I mean, who am I to say no to that? There's going to be a real fast rollout here from Dreamers between the TP and the speed boost. It's going to be very difficult for Finale to find any space to work with as they return to the Grand Finals meta comp here.
As long as Dreamers play in server, they're going to have low ceilings and... Well, why? No, why? This... What?
They've been intimidated. Okay, just one swap. Easy Hans decided that they don't want to play the Symmetra versus the Winston. Understandable. Instead, preferring to bring out the direct damage that the Reaper will bring because he can be so easily escorted forward.
As long as they kept the Reinhardt, that's the important thing. I thought he was going to try and shout it up and play Winston into him, but this Reaper is going to just poke a lot of holes into Muse, who goes off into safety. So, as I was saying, as long as Dreamers stay on the server side, the ceilings are going to be low enough and Muse is not going to want to engage into that.
The Muse is just eternally running. He just cannot find himself a fight, because how are you going to brawl against what Dreamers are playing right now? Just touching on the point, maybe trying to catch Dreamers during their transit or during their commute when they're at their most vulnerable.
Pokerface just trying to take control of server side where they can keep someone like Finale in a safe position. Pokerface needing a target to dive onto, but Muse can't even stay alive. He jumped immediately out and got fragged by the burst of Easy Han, the amp matrix of Meeson. This is looking like a very flawless round by Dreamers unless Pokerface figures something out.
Oh, Muse is coming so close to James Bonding right now. He's 0-0-6. One more death and Muse will get the legendary Owl James Bond. Dreamers so close once again.
Oh, Pokerface, Kitsune Rush, trying to pump in the damage onto Dreamers, who keep themselves in with the sound barrier. The Blizzard behind Pokerface will have to split them up or force them forward. Pokerface lose their main tank yet again. The 007, you wanted to see it. Dreamers, 65% plus, don't have Meeson, but that doesn't seem to be a problem.
It's so sad, yet a little bit funny. Valentine wants to try and find an opening here with the Death Blossom, finds a Reaper unawares, forces out the Wraithform. This could be the opening that Valentine's been looking for to bring this back for Pokerface. They're desperate for any kind of purchase here on the point, but Easy wants to rebuff it.
Valentine picked off by a Lucio, just being marked as he's teleporting around the map. Pokerface, Overclock, Primal Rage, Finale needing to clutch up because it's 91+% before Dreamers knocked Pokerface out of mid-season madness contention. Easy Han pressuring back, sees Muse alone on the point, and he dies yet again, not able to get anything done. Finale with some nice kills. But it's only Depresso Espresso for Pokerface as they are eliminated from APAC knockouts.
The dream ain't dead, Lemon. It's barely even bruised. 5 deaths the entirety of that map from Dreamers, and 3 of them were Meeson, who just got consistently run on by the faster play of Pokerface. The Dreamer only died once right at the end there. We saw Muse go 007, license to feed. Easy Han, 28 12 and 0. What a play from Easy Han, but Spectra continually just making sure that any engagement from Pokerface was slowed down to a bare crawl, and they could not work against that Mei.
Dreamers, just the kings of control. As long as they go to rush maps, the dream is still alive. Can we get Dreamer to Owl? Well, the biggest gatekeepers of doing that is the Guangzhou Charge, the #1 seed in Owl, who await them in the lower bracket, the losers final, which takes place on June 3rd, so next weekend. You won't want to miss that.
What would win? A technological and economic development zone, or one big old dream? The dream, Lemon, was to get Dreamer back to Owl, but he might make it all the way to mid-season madness without even needing a contract. Dreamers, they simply rock at these control maps where they are able to move through and play Rush. And to be honest, part of this lays at the feet of Pokerface. They opted in to play a map where Rush is so powerful as Antarctic Peninsula as the opening map. They got to pick that as the higher seed. And they played into Dreamers' hands. They were made fools of, buffoons of.
And also Dreamer getting into their heads of, why would you play Ryan against me, bro? And Muse is like, oh, you're right. And then fell for their trick and fell to this Tracer. Spectra put on a show for us as our player of the match.
Our player of the match, dominating, especially on Rialto. Straight at that beginning, I believe, was 0 deaths, and it went like 17-0 straight at the beginning. It was powerful performances from Spectra, now twice in a row as well. Spectra managed to diff both Sonjun and Prophet last time around, and honestly, if Spectra continues at this level and the rest of the team play around him as well as they have done today and in the match previous, it's not out of this world that they could defeat the Guangzhou Charge.
Spectra has to go up against Choice A1. I'm praying for you, bud. I'm gonna have my popcorn. I'm gonna be that unbiased caster, but good luck. But he proved today that I think he can compete in Overwatch League. Pulses onto Muse, made him miserable on multiple occasions, and clutched up so many fights, especially on Hollywood.
Yeah, Spectra. The Tracer is just so important in this meta, almost ubiquitous, but of course, also having that Mei in the back pocket as well is such a big draw card for Spectra to have when this team just dominates in the rush. The variability that Spectra brings to the table and how you can never really telegraph what the team is going to play based on whether he's in or not is a huge boon.
Spectra is a boon and popped off today. Dreamers, I think their double flanker was super solid too. At some points on Rialto, I felt they overinvested some ultimates like the EMP bomb, but they have leveled up their performance. They've leveled up also their aggression. Like, look at that alley-oop. I freaked out. Your feed was dead, and I don't think anyone wanted you to see that because that was so gross. Jumped into it. Just maybe Arrow's fault a little bit on that, but calculated, as the kids would say. Double flanker, I thought pretty solid. It's just maybe ult efficiency to take note of for the future, but I've talked to a lot of people about Dreamers. No one expected them to get this far. No one expected them to win against SPG, Seoul Dynasty, and now Pokerface, who are tied for #1 seed with O2 Blast. Coming in as a #6 seed, Dreamers are having the Cinderella story through knockouts.
Last chance qualifiers. Last chance qualifiers in Korea is what got Dreamers here. And yet they continue to take scalp after scalp. That is one happy unicorn. And magic is happening here as Tracer this match. Plenty of damage done. Look at that KD ratio as well. The pulse bomb kills were aplenty. And that's the t-shirt I want, Lemon, with the Dreamers unicorn on it. That's the swag I need.
It looks like that really nice material too. That's like good to sweat in. It's not like that ugly cotton, you know? I don't know materials.
That's a top tier sweating shirt right there.
Hey, we hyped you up, Dreamers. Let's get a t-shirt out here.
Yo, DMs, huh?
DMs. But we've had so many upsets today, but one thing that's gonna make me happy is this next interview. Let's go check in with Unknown in our interview.
Congrats on your win.
잠깐만요. 근데 저희 정말 궁금한 게 있는데요. 아니 포커페이스를 잡았으면 다른 팀들 막 이렇게 막 환호하고 좋아하고 막 선수들 그럴 줄
I have
알았거든요.
something to
근데
ask.
어떻게 이렇게 선수들이
Usually when a team
흥분합니까?
like wins in such a
안
epic
좋아요?
fight like this, like everyone kind of gets excited and all that. Wasn't the case for you? Weren't you like that excited?
좋은데 이제 포커페이스는 저희가 좀 이길 거라고 이미 예상을 하고 있었어.
I mean, I'm definitely feeling good, but Pokerface is a team that I thought we would win, and it actually took us longer and harder than I thought it would be. So,
네, 조금 예상하긴 했는데 아마 3대1 승 정도로
I mean,
예상하고
I did
있었는데
expect to win. It's just that we thought we would win like a little bit easier than this, like
원래 저희가
3-1 or
라마적을
something like that.
예상하고 있었는데 거기서 좀 이제 잠깐 무너진 것 같아요.
I did think they did make some good plays, and that's where we kind of got caught off guard.
네, 그때는 무슨 생각하셨습니까?
So, what was on your mind when it was on the very last edge?
뒷감했어요.
I think I thought we could win. We were confident enough to win.
네.
리그 팀들 통틀어서도
예.
최고다라고 생각하시나요?
Do you think your team is the
런던
best in
팀이
contenders and
런던이
also
많이 하긴 하는데
with
네.
OWL teams?
그것까지 잘 모르겠는데 일단 컨텐에서는
I mean,
저희가 가장 센것
with
같아요.
OWL teams
그래서
included,
아까 막 한국에
I'm
막
not
하기는
100%
나다, 막
sure,
이런
but out of the
챌린지
contenders
올라왔던
teams,
것
I definitely
같은데.
think our team
자,
is the best.
오늘 스펙트라 선수가 펄스 부착률이 정말 어마어마했어요. 한 세트에 66.7% 정도 이렇게 저희가 수치를 봤는데 오늘 펄스 부착률에 대해서는 어떻게 만족하십니까?
So, your pulse bomb attach rate was
조금
really,
더
really
잘
high.
붙일
It was
수 있는 것들이 있었는데
66.7%
그래도
ish.
실질적으로 만족하는 편입니다.
Do you have any like
네.
special secret behind
오늘
that?
그러면 트레이서로 내가 좀 더 잘한 것 같습니까?
I
아니면
mean, I
메이가
think
조금 더 마음에
nothing
듭니까?
special. It was just one of my days.
둘 다 괜찮게 한 것 같아요.
아하, 둘 다 우열을 가릴 수 없다.
So, what do you think? Did you do better on
저희가
Tracer or
진짜
other
스펙트라
heroes?
선수한테 더 많은 얘기를 하고
I mean, I think
싶습니다만
I did
오늘
okay
전체적으로 경기가 너무
across the board.
길어가지고 인터뷰를 짧게 마무리할 수밖에 없는 게 너무 아쉬운데요. 자, 스펙트라 선수 일단 드리머즈의 꿈이 계속해서
So we
현재
need to keep this short,
진행형입니다.
but so I'll
계속해서
throw
이어지고 있는데요.
throw a last
앞으로 팬
question.
여러분들께
Do you
드리머즈
have
많이
any
응원해주세요. 한 말씀만
last
듣겠습니다.
messages to the fans that are
저희
keeping
정말
like
열심히 하고
rooting to keeping the dream
진짜
alive?
팀원들 휴가도 없이 진짜 거의 한 달 내내 지금 열심히 하고 있는데 계속 응원해 주시면 감사하겠고
So our team is working really hard. We didn't even have vacation for the entire month, like without weekends, without any holidays. So please cheer for us, and we'll deliver the results. Thank you, and back to you, Lemon.
Thanks
the
so
dream
much.
is alive, Lemon. The dream's alive. And Spectra thinks that Dreamers are a better team than O2 Blast, the best team in contenders. And hey, Spectra is an ex-O2 Blast alumni, so maybe he would know.
It's cool to see that they're so humble and they've worked so hard. And just speaking to the APAC casters who have followed their journey, everyone just has their jaw on the floor that not only are they able to beat SPG, Soul Dynasty, but Poker Face? This was supposed to be a team that went all the way to contend against the big dogs, but it's a contenders team that keeps them at bay. So our top three is decided from Group A. We have the Spark, the Charge, and our last survivor of contenders being Dreamers, who will go up against the Charge in the lower bracket final next weekend. We got two more matches to go. Soul Inferno versus Dallas Fuel, Panthera versus O2 Blast after the break.